I have been residing with two people. Oh, they have, on occasion, including recently, uh, spoken with each other, had conversation that was basically tense. Um, some anxiety and anger, stuff like that, has cropped up in each of them, especially one. It's a man and a woman, and in the woman, in the woman especially, and it has been basically a little here and there, more than slightly usually, but less than uh, screaming and violence, physical violence. Yet at times, including recently, I have heard door slamming. Um, and such. I have issues. Um, I've experienced some recovery and I wish for more. One of my issues has been being afraid. When I have been present with these two and they've spoken with each other, I have been quite sensitive. My awareness to quite sensitive to any hint in either one's voice of frustration, any kind of mixture of anxiety and anger. My reaction often has been, when I've been present for that, my reaction often at the time has been one of freezing. So my body's gotten tense. I have felt anxiety, and occasionally, if it's lasted more than like a few seconds or something like that, I have experienced not only anxiety, a feeling of anxiety, but also a feeling of resentment or anger myself at having to endure that kind of a thing. So, I've recently had the thought, and I had this thought fairly frequently before, but it's kind of been a while. And the thought has been recently come up the thought has been that I should basically avoid being around them when the two of them are together in like the same room. It also has occurred to me the thought to be around each of them individually, just me and the other person, and make a somewhat of a special point to do that, to be present with each one at a time, but not together when they're in the same room together. Sort of like avoiding a toxic situation. So I'm not sure. I've had some uncertainty as a reaction to my thoughts regarding this. Um, I've had some uncertainty about the healthiness versus the unhealthiness of such thinking, such kinds of thinking, in terms of avoidance of certain people or certain people situations. Um, Yet not avoiding the people entirely, but avoiding a certain situation, them together, and then making somewhat of a point to go to and be with each one individually at times. This idea has seemed something like a happy medium. uh, that being said, such a system is not the solution. The solution is, for me, recovery and intuitive thinking, and not a if then system. If they're together, I avoid. If not, I occasionally go to each one. That kind of even simple system is more like, is at best for me perhaps a band-aid and not a long-term solution. And it's definitely not the long-term solution. The long-term solution is spiritual healing for my spiritual sickness via basically, one, repentance, and two, forgiving people for true wrongs. These two were spoken by Jesus. I need a recovery. One of the things is I need recovery so that I can, out of love and not like self-preservation, say to someone without being hypocritical, basically, you did X, that was wrong, I forgive you. And I can really only do that when I have mostly recovered myself in that area, such as anger, for example. And I thought before that I had been basically recovered from anger, and such that I could go to someone and say, you got outwardly angry, I forgive you, without being a hypocrite. Lately I've thought that doing so I would engage in hypocrisy, me doing the very thing that I was trying to point out to someone else and rebuke them and also forgive them. Perhaps I need to be honest and open about my anger problem, for example, and my anxiety problem. And that may be perhaps is a way to, in the moment, guided by God, and empowered by God to follow that guidance, might be a way to communicate the issue for them so that they see their issue. It's for me to point out the issue in me. Yet I could easily focus on that as being doing that out of self-preservation rather than love. So I have a fourth step that is currently underway. That kind of thing is part of the solution, as well as the honesty, as well as the forgiving people for true wrongs. I've had a question of, am I basically recovered from anger or not? Earlier today, I got slightly outwardly angry at someone. Slightly, but it was outwardly angry at someone. There was an edge to my voice and a motivation to my words that was out of a place of anger. I apologized to the person. I made amends. In private. Honesty is the principle that has helped me, and it has been one aspect of the path of healing in life, as well as truth and faith and hope and making amends and humility and service and spiritual awareness and daily accountability and such things. Confession. If anyone's listening to this, thanks for listening to me.